Hey there, guys. Thank you very much for requesting this free training resource that I'm excited to provide you guys, because it's going to be on something that when I really break down what it is I do, this is basically it in a nutshell, right? It's combining our ability to create and step into our dream body and keep it and maintain it long term with having this underlying current of genuine self-love for ourselves, right? And high self-worth, and the marriage of the two, really. So I wanted to put together this video as just to highlight, I guess, the different ways that we can get this wrong, or not necessarily wrong, but the ways we can optimize it, because there are, and I see a lot of people in both the fitness industry as well as probably more the spiritual, I guess, woke community, for lack of better terms, that kind of sit on either end of the spectrum, where we need to be kind of in the middle, right? As I said, we need to create synergy between having self-love for yourself and actually going out and taking action to create the dream body. So I'm going to be highlighting kind of the two sides to it. So having maybe toxic self-love and being too far that way and not actually acting on the body, versus only focusing on the body but coming so from a very fear-based place and therefore lacking the self-love that we kind of need to be able to maintain it long term, and then showing you guys what I call the sweet spot. And it's what, as I said, it's what I do and what Origin specifically is aimed at creating and helping you guys step into. So that's going to be the crux of the video. As with most of these kinds of videos, or as with all of them from now on, it's not going to be a sales pitch. We're not getting to the end, and I'm not going to be trying to sell you onto anything. But however, I'm just gonna say, if this does resonate with you, and if it is like, yeah, I really want that, I would really love to find that balance, then by all means reach out. Let me know if it has landed, and we can have a chat from there. So we're going to start with the self-love imbalance. So using the metaphor of the seesaw here, this is where we kind of sit too far in the self-love category. And what I've basically done for all these slides is we have self-love on the left and we have our dream body or our body creation on the right. And then I've got different traits that we will find in these situations. So in the self-love imbalance, this is kind of what we see is we have things, we have phrases being said like, I love myself no matter what. It's like we always get told, you deserve to love yourself no matter what, no matter where you're at in your journey. And I've just finished doing a podcast on this. So if that lands and you want to know more about my thoughts on that, I have just dropped a podcast. So jump on and have a look at that one. But this is very much a wall we put up in order to actually bypass or not even look at maybe our body and how much it's actually crying out for attention. Because, and like I said in the podcast, it's not a matter of that you don't deserve to love yourself no matter what, and all that kind of stuff you do. But part of loving yourself is looking after, taking care of your body, optimizing your body, being healthy, creating energy, all these kinds of things. It's part of it, right? It's not this separate conversation. And we need to, which is what this whole video is about, create synergy between, yeah, I love myself, but in order for me to fully love myself, to fully see myself, I need to be living in a body that I'm proud of and that I genuinely do love. And too often we see people using this as as I said, reason not to actually take action. And you'll know it because they'll tell you just how much they love themselves and how great their life is and all these kinds of things. But deep down, they don't actually love their body, what it looks like, how they feel in it. So therefore, they can't fully love themselves. And maybe they're okay with only 90% loving themselves. If so, that's fine. But like, sometimes we need to be honest that there are parts of us that we don't love and we want to improve, and it's okay. It doesn't mean we're a bad person. It doesn't mean we don't deserve to be here. But part of loving yourself is to take action on that dream body creation and being healthy. This kind of, again, falls now into the toxic body positivity. So just saying you love your body, or that, doesn't matter what size you are, as long as you love yourself, that's all good. This is what we call toxic body positivity. So it's like we can generally see or listen or whatever it is, if your body is actually serving you, if it's actually healthy, and if it's allowing you to live your best life. And if it's not, then just, lying to yourself and saying that it is. And again, the whole love myself no matter what, that's toxic positivity. That's not actually helping you overcome the challenges you're facing, and it's just slapping a band-aid on it, and you're trying to convince yourself that everything's okay when maybe it's not. And maybe you just don't want to look at that, right? So we really want to avoid the toxic positivity. And these people will either hide their figure as much as they possibly can, or they can't actually see the changes that need to occur. So again, maybe they're slapping the toxic body positivity on, but then you see them always covering up. You see them not swimming at the beach. You see them wearing the most oversized clothes they possibly can, right? So there's something in there that's making them cover up, but maybe they don't want to admit it. Or maybe they just simply can't see it. Maybe they are so far down the rabbit hole. Maybe this seesaw is so imbalanced that they can't actually see the changes that they need to make. Their ego is just blocking them. It's just not in their reality. It's like you've believed this for so long that you are just simply immune to seeing the changes you need to make. And most of the time with those people, it takes something fucking massive, sometimes very unfortunate, like a health scare, or maybe their partner to break up with them because they're not attracted to them anymore. It usually takes something big to have them actually wake up and see that they've really neglected their body and their health, which is such a massive part of our lives, obviously. So generally fall in those categories. These two kind of go hand in hand. Call people out for being shallow, for posting photos of themselves at the gym or fucking half naked or whatever it might be, or for saying that they want to have a bigger bum or bigger arms or a flat stomach. And they're often very triggered by people with great bodies. So they might look at someone and they might be like, oh, well, you know, they look that way, but they're probably not happy inside, right? Very triggered by someone that has a really good looking body. And that might be true. They might fall on what's going to be the next slide here, which is the body imbalance, where they look great, but inside they're not good and they don't have self-love. But they're triggered by the body itself, which tells us that, yeah, maybe they're not actually happy within their own bodies. And they'll always feel the need to tell everyone just how much they love themselves and that they don't associate their worth to their body, right? It's always when people tell you something too many times and it's a little bit kind of weird that you're like, you're trying to hide something, right? You're slapping a band-aid, you're trying to distract me, but really you're trying to distract yourself from the fact that at the moment, maybe you do tie your self-worth into your body, but you just don't want to look at it. So you're going to love your way out of it. You're going to toxic body positivity your way out of it. All right, so these are just some of the main traits I see where we're too far in the self-love camp and not enough in the action camp. And then similar over on the other side, we also see that their nutrition is all over the place. So when it comes to actually their body and their health and their food and their training, food's all over the place. So they might eat like shit, or they might be sporadic, or they might binge eat a lot. Their nutrition will just not be in a great place. They'll really train or move with purpose, or maybe if they do, it's not really for anything. It's meaningless. It's not connected to anything. Or they'll always find an excuse not to train their bodies because they're like, well, my worth isn't tied up in my body, so therefore why would I go and train? I'll just go meditate instead, right? I'll just go journal instead. I'll live up in the clouds instead of taking ownership on the work I need to do, and I'll make myself feel better that way. But eventually something's got to give and that body will start breaking down. And as I said, maybe it takes something big like that for them to actually understand what work they need to do. Okay, so this is the self-love imbalance. We then have the body imbalance, which I would say that first one is very much, your spiritual, your emotional, your kind of woke community is very much in that sphere quite often. Whereas this one is very more into the fitness industry. So I obviously used to be heavily in the fitness industry. Then I really distanced myself from the fitness industry for a while. Now I'm kind of like, the fitness industry needs me. It needs what I'm doing, and it needs this, especially this slide, because what we see with people that become too focused on their body and creating an aesthetic and strong and the way they look is we get the imbalance the other way. So now our self-love and our inner world really lack. So we have this fear of judgment, right? We're always worried about how other people view us or perceive us, right? That means we don't have certainty in who we actually are. Comparison, so always comparing themselves, their bodies, their lives, their business to everyone else around them, right? Very, very scattered when it comes to that. Very hierarchical, putting other people above them, potentially below them. But again, that is just an ego, a way for our ego to distract us from the work we need to do by focusing on someone else. So constantly comparing, seeking external validation. So, have I got it in here? Not sure I put in this one, but this is a very fear-based state where they're often, I swear I put that in, maybe it's in the next one. Very fear-based state where they're only creating their body so they get acceptance, so they get validation by other people. If you're in the fitness industry, so that they have people looking up to them in the gym or on social media or whatever. So doing the body creation out of a need to feel like they need to be validated, that they need to be accepted. All right. Mood is dictated by scales or photos. So, we have this imbalance and we lack some inner world clarity and some genuine self-love when every single day could be very different, dictated on what the scale says or what our photos say, or something to do with our body, right? As we know, scales can fluctuate a lot for a lot of different reasons. Photos, again, just because you're not seeing visual evidence doesn't mean you're not progressing in other areas, right? But in this instance, we see people's mood being heavily dictated by scales, photos, or a measure of their body as a whole. Very picky when it comes to choosing clothing. So again, this comes down to the fear of judgment, the comparison, the external validation. They will be very worried about what they're wearing and if they look good in it. Self-sabotage, so that could be a whole conversation in itself, but chances are if they're lacking self-love and they're lacking this inner world clarity and strength, that they have become used to being that person, having that identity, being the person that's a bit more overweight or doesn't have the best body or whatever, and you become addicted to and glued into this identity. So then you sabotage yourself in various different ways to stay there, because that's what you're used to. That's what is safe and comfortable for you. That's what people know you as. So number of different self-sabotage strategies that, I'm not going to go into here, but we go into heavily in Origin. Beating themselves up after setbacks. So this kind of goes into this over here in the body side, which is trying to be perfect. So if you have one minor setback, these people will beat themselves up. Their language will be negative. They will maybe not eat. They'll starve themselves, or they'll go to the gym for an extra 2 hours and do the Stairmaster. They're very hard on themselves when they have a setback, because they're like, well, fuck, I was trying to create this body because I need it to feel accepted, to feel loved. So because I've stuffed up, I need to be punished, right? Again, lacking all kinds of self-love and inner world clarity with that one. And the last one, their worth as a person is in their body. So they genuinely believe that their worth and their place on this earth is predicated on what they look like. And if they don't look good, then they don't fit in. They don't deserve to be here. They don't deserve the relationship. So they need to do whatever the fuck they need to do to improve their body so they feel worthy. Again, that's a wound, that's a trauma response, and that's really highlighting the fact that, yes, there's a lot of self-love lacking, right? Again, it's this balance, which we'll go into in the last slide, of not having your worth dictated to by your body, but also having some of your worth dictated to by your body. Because if you have some worth tied up in your body, then you want to make that body as good and healthy as possible. So that's that side. The right-hand side, so I've covered some of these, but very, very strict on their nutrition. So no flexibility, no freedom. I have to hit this numbers and it has to be to the fucking gram, and I can't have all of these food because this is what I need to do to create my body. Generally told to them by a coach who has no idea, right? Or we do this and we don't ever get out of it. It's like, when you want to lose weight or get a body change, you have to make some sacrifices, right? But there will come a time where you need to get out of that and allow this new normal to take its place and have freedom and flexibility again, because you can't live your life that way, right? Well, some people can, but personally, and the people I work with, that's not the way we want to do it. We want our body and all this to be integrated into our life as a whole and not have our body be our whole life. Tries to be perfect. So a really cool system and I guess foundational piece that I give to my clients is something called the Tightrope Train Track system, which essentially is around perfection. And when you try to chase perfection, it doesn't leave any room for error. So therefore, when you fall off, again, you language failure and you beat yourself up and you think you failed, right? And we can't live like that, right? We just cannot live that way, trying to be perfect when it's not possible, when life happens. And again, this can often fall into the self-sabotage category. So these two kind of cross over. Feel the need to train every day. So again, you're working on your body, so you feel like I need to work on my body every day. And it can become a really unhealthy addiction to the gym, to training, to running and doing too much, not actually allowing your body to recover, right? And actually change. Language failure, if they go off track, again, I've spoken about that a little bit just before, but failure is very black and white. It's very fixed, and we generally have an association with the word failure. And then once we've languaged that, we go and do something that a failure would do, right? Which is not really great when we're trying to integrate into this integrate this into our lives and have this part of our lifestyle and not our entire lifestyle. All right, so being very careful with your language, and always looking for quick fixes. Right? If I'm someone that doesn't like my body and I'm fearing judgment, comparison, seeking external validation, have my mood dictated to, all this stuff, and I get presented with a quick fix with some nice marketing or by an influencer that tells me they can get the result but they actually can't, whatever it might be, I'm probably going to jump at that because I want this to happen as quickly as possible. And I don't really care about the repercussions of that because I desperately need this body to fit in, to feel loved, to have acceptance, core human fucking needs. But it is not the answer because you can never maintain it. And yeah, that's just not the solution. All right. So yeah, this is our body imbalance. Then we have the sweet spot. So this is basically like, this is what Origin is created to. If I had to put what Origin does on a slide, this would be it. If I had to, explain to you what it is I do, this is fucking it. This is the sweet spot. This is where we get the nice balance between our genuine self-love and our dream body creation. And there are times, that's the other thing, there are times where it kind of needs to swing a little bit, right? You need to have a little bit more attention on the body. Sometimes you need to have a little bit more attention on cultivating that inner world and that self-love. It is going to go back and forth a bit. But with that, part of this and becoming this person is understanding when that needs to happen and when it's the right time. All right. So if we look at the self-love side, it is someone who has deep, unconditional love for who they are as a person, right? It's like body aside, job aside, money aside, everything aside, I deserve to be on this fucking earth. I genuinely love who I am and I'm grateful for everything I've been through, everything I'm doing. Like, you're a fucking rock star. Sweet. That is the foundation to create from. We see ourselves as limitless, right? So I can achieve whatever the fuck I want. I just sometimes need to know how, or I need help, or I need guidance. But I know I am capable. In this instance, I know I'm capable of changing my body, right? Belief system work, which again, I'm not going to go into it here, but we do a whole lot of that in Origin. What are your belief systems? Because your belief systems are going to impact what you actually see in your reality, in your physical reality. It's also going to impact how you go about things and your success. So we need to understand we are limitless in what we can do. Self-belief, kind of the same thing. I realized that was the same thing after I did it. But yeah, building self-belief. And again, this isn't about just being like, oh, I believe. Building self-belief is about going and doing the things to get the evidence to create the self-belief, right? Self-belief isn't something we can manufacture or make up. Like, it is to an extent, I guess. There's only so many fucking motivational videos you can watch before you need to go out and do something to give you self-belief, right? It's like, it's to say this was the first ever video tutorial that I was filming. The only way I'm going to believe that I'm capable of doing this and speak without, like, I don't know, fucking script or something is to do it, right? It's only like, if I'd done this, I'm like, okay, yeah, I believe I can do it. And I just tried to do that. That's not going to create the slides. That's not going to create the video that you guys are watching, right? I need to go out and get evidence that I can do it. So again, if this was my first one, once I finish, I'll be like, yeah, I can do that. Same with building your body. As soon as you see that first kilo come off, you complete that first hard training session, you run your first K. Cool. I have just accumulated evidence that is adding to my self-belief. I'm always like, cool, where can I pull evidence? Where can I find a new brick to lay onto my self-belief castle that I'm fucking building? How high can I get that thing? But I need to go out and collect the evidence, right? See your worth outside of just your physical body, but also within your body. This is what I was speaking about before. Again, this in itself is a seesaw. It's like, yeah, I know my worth isn't tied up in my body as a whole, but I'm also going to put some worth into my body, because if I didn't, I would just let it go because it doesn't matter. Where I'm like, no, some of my self-worth is in how I look and how I feel, how I perform, how my body acts and performs for me. So I've got to have some worth in there. But again, it's just making sure that is balanced and it's not too far one way or the other. Knowing when to have tough conversations with yourself. So this kind of links in with this one over here. So are you being lazy or are you listening to your body? It's like, oh, fuck, okay, I tweaked my back a little bit there. The next day it's like a little bit sore. You know what? It's probably best for me to just take today off and just let it heal because it's not feeling great, right? That's listen to your body. Whereas if you're like, oh, I'm just tired, work's been long and I just don't think I can do it. It's like, okay, are you just being lazy Or like, is that a genuine reason to not go to the gym or to not go to the shops to cook your food? Right? Knowing when to have that tough conversation with yourself and get your ass into gear if you need to, or be kind on yourself and deploy this self-love to be like, no, you need to rest and we can get after it tomorrow. Right? That's I'm talking about that a lot with the guys doing Phoenix at the moment. Understanding when to have those tough conversations with yourself, doing the integrity check at the end of each day, being like, did I do everything I could, or did I kind of let myself off the hook, and getting good at deciphering between the two. Love-based, so doing things out of love for yourself and the benefits of what you're doing, right? And to better yourself as a person, and not doing things out of fear of judgment, of comparison, or whatever. So again, that comes from building that foundation of unconditional love for who you are as a person. And again, that's what a lot of the first month is during Origin, is we are creating that foundation from the inside out, very love-based. Ownership over blame. So I'm just not going to entertain you blaming things that are, I'm just not going to take it. Like, what ownership can you take? Because as soon as you don't take ownership and you blame something else, you lose all your power to change it. So even if it is something totally out of your control, that's cool, it happens. But how could you have handled the situation better? How could you have reacted better? Right? So big on ownership and wanting the absolute best for yourself. As we've been saying, part of self-love is wanting the fucking best for yourself in all areas. And in this case, with your body. I want to be in the healthiest, best looking, strongest, most aerobic fucking body I can be in, that allows me to do whatever I want in life without it being a limiter. It's basically the way I look at it. So part of loving yourself is going out and creating that so you can live the best possible life. Otherwise, if you're not doing that, you're not living the best possible life. And then, like, what are you here for? What's the point? Right? So that's that side. Final side, so in terms of the dream body creation, so you are deeply connected to your dream body, the end outcome, and the person you need to become. Cannot stress how much of a game changer that last one has been. And it's something we identify very, very early. If you imagine yourself in this dream body already, like you actually see them, what kind of person have they become, and what kind of person do they show up as each day? What are their habits? What are their beliefs? How do they talk to themselves? What time do they get up? What do they eat? What's their ownership like? How do they feel in the gym? Like, get clear on the person you are becoming so you can start living as them straight away. Because as soon as you take on that identity, you start doing the things that identity would do, that future version of you would do, which is going to create the results you want. The worst thing you can do is try and create these new results as the exact same person you are. Not going to fucking work. Certainly not going to stick. Right? So again, that's a big piece we do, is actually knowing the person you are becoming. Connected to the dream body, so knowing exactly what that looks like and what your dream body is. And also connected to the end outcome. So when I achieve this, not if I achieve this, when I achieve this, how will that benefit my life? How will I feel as a result? What will this allow me to do? Right? How will this help with my purpose of why I'm here on this fucking earth? Right? Get connected to the outcome, not just, I want to lose weight because I just think I have to lose weight and I want some more Instagram photos. It's like, we're not going to work together. But if you want to change your body and everything else that comes with it, to better the world as a whole, to better your life, to better those people's lives around you, get connected to that. Suddenly, you will not need motivation again, because that is going to mean so much to you that you're not going to need to find this fake motivation and watch bullshit videos to get you motivated and get you up. Like, if you need to put on a YouTube video a motivational YouTube video to get your ass up, to go to the gym or to go and eat right or better yourself, like, you are just not connected enough to what this is all for. Like, you just don't have the big picture in mind. Right? So that's again, huge piece right at the start of Origin. You're committed to training and pushing your limits. So every time you're in there, you're getting to work. Right? If you're in there and you're training, let's fucking go. Like, make things happen. Find a nutrition strategy that allows change as well as working with your lifestyle. So this is kind of the push and pull of this. This is the sacrifices we need to make at times, but also knowing when to pull back. So as I said, when we're trying to lose weight or add muscle, there are just sacrifices we need to make, right? We need to restrict our calories a little bit. We need to, maybe train more. We need to get more steps. Like, there are sacrifices you're going to need to make if you want this body. It's just how it is. But we also need to know when it's time to not have them, or when it's time to be okay with yourself going off track for a little while. If you got a birthday or an event, or maybe you're on holiday, like being able to switch back and forth between the two. But having said that, like, I don't work with people that get on stage or like bodybuilders anymore. So sometimes like lifestyle and life and fun and adventure and experiences take priority. So being or understanding how to create a nutrition approach that is going to work in with your lifestyle, but then again comes back to the tough convos, knowing when you need to really knuckle down, take action, get things done, versus when you need to be okay with letting it go for a day or two and then being able to get back on track. Right, again, another kind of seesaw within itself. Lazy versus listening to your body, so I just covered that one before. Adherence, consistency, patience. So these were 3 words that I used to preach in my coaching from literally fucking day one, that I'd kind of not forgotten about, but I just had never really highlighted, or hadn't really highlighted them in the last few years. But again, this is it's in here because it's coming up now with a couple of my clients in Phoenix. It's like they've got this self-love side pretty bloody good. Like, that's pretty dialed. We're now really dialing in their training and their nutrition. Again, that's getting really good now. So then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, cool, I've got this seesaw pretty good. Now I need to be really adherent to what I need to do: nutrition, training, movement, steps, I need to be very, very fucking consistent with this day in, day out to create the body, because creating a body takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And then I need to be patient, and I need to trust and always check in with myself, that integrity piece, that I'm doing everything I need to do. And then I need to be patient and be consistent and do it day after day, week after week. Take pride in the results I'm getting, understand the results I'm getting, be open to seeing the changes. And that is what is going to create the body long term. All right. So again, it can often be missed in when we're trying to create both of these. But once you've got everything locked in and dialed in, there's actually not much you need in that moment. You just need to go out and do it and be consistent with it. Adhere to everything you need to do and be patient. Cannot stress that enough. And creates a well-rounded body. So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want a body that can just move a weight from A to B. I want a body that can run, that can jump, that can climb, that can swim, that can walk for long distances, like can do all this thing. I want a well-rounded body. So challenging yourself to put yourself out of your comfort zone. Maybe run, maybe go to the gyms, putting it out of your comfort zone. Hike, maybe go do a high intensity class, or a like an F45 or F45, or like a body fit, or like something like that that's a bit different. Or like I've recently started bouldering, which is like basically rock climbing. My hands are getting pretty fucked from it, but like that's very challenging for me. I'm not very good at it, but it's something I want to get better at, because that is just challenging my body in a different way, and that makes me feel really good. And it also gives me, I talk about self-belief and building self-belief and gathering evidence. Every time I go, I get a little bit better, and it shows me that just because I might suck at something to begin with, I can get better if I put my mind to it. And I think that's a massive part of Dream Body, is what it can do for you. So challenge yourself with that. Guys, I think that is it. That's, we're at half an hour. Okay. This went for a lot longer than I was planning it to. But I can't stress enough how important this relationship is, and how much things improve when you nail it. And everyone needs this. Everyone needs this. And this is what I said. Like, this is what something I really believe the fitness industry needs, and I'm here to deliver. And I really hope you guys have taken something from it. If you've been like triggered a little bit, or if there's been stuff that's made you feel like I'm talking directly to you, like, that's great. Be really aware of what part of that really got to you, or triggered you, or you resonated with, and have the humility to be like, oh fuck, okay, you know what, I really do need to look at that. I do need to do better with that. Or if you don't know how, like, reach out, whether it's to me or someone else. But again, when you find this balance and you understand the back and forth of both, and you create this foundation of both, the world's your fucking oyster. You are so limitless then in what you can do and how you can feel in your body. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. I appreciate all kinds of feedback. So please, once you've watched it, would love you to DM me and just let me know how you found it. And enjoy the rest of your day.